perform, get informed, go perform.
It's indeed an honor to be here at the climax of various activities marking the 10th anniversary of a journey of innovation, a journey that has driven and supported this country and various governments in driving the right outcomes in our education sector. And I couldn't have missed this session for any other activity. Indeed, the work of Africa Education Gateway and that of Pearson, this partnership is a very important one. Together with other stakeholders and IT consortium, we have seen various exhibitions and demonstrations of innovation. We've also had the opportunity to share best practices in education and introduce various innovations that will drive the required and desired outcomes that we want to see in our schools, from instructional leadership, school leadership, setting the right vision and setting the right environment for education. Many of these have characterized the climax of the 10th anniversary of this journey. And here we are. We are deeply proud of the contribution of Africa Education Gateway and their partners in supporting government's efforts in ensuring that we reposition and reimagine how education is done in Ghana and transform various facets of our education system to make it a robust one and one that is fit for purpose, one that is relevant even for the fourth industrial revolution and the 21st century that we find ourselves. Over the years, we have enjoyed this partnership. The best way to ensure that the best practices that are being practiced in one school is made known to other schools is gatherings like this, platforms like this, very important, where we get to learn from each other. I heard one of the panelists talking about PLCs, and it is one principle that follows what this platform also does. So teachers and colleagues will gather together and share various practices and best pedagogical practices and other instructional leadership and school leadership skills that need to be shared that will drive outcomes together. There is no way that the fortunes of this country will be changed and transformed if only one school or only one sector sees their outcomes so high and then other sectors not doing the way we want them to do. And therefore we want to carry both the private sector and the public sector along this transformation journey. We want to ensure that every school drives the required outcomes optimum and that no child in this country born Ghanaian or schooling in this country will be left out of opportunity to receive the kind of skills and competencies needed to confidently compete with any other child in any parts of the world for opportunities. This transformation journey has come not without sacrifices. It has come not without investment. It has come with challenges. But in all of these, together, we have been unflinching in our efforts at pushing to the kind of innovation we want to see. When you hear now in our schools, in Ghana, young children at the age of 13, 14, and 15, innovating their way out, and even setting up unmanned aircrafts in a form of drones that can be flown and go for surveillance and come back to land right here in Ghana. It is testament to the kind of innovation we're introducing. Now you hear right here in Ghana, children sometimes even at the age of 10 competing in global robotics competitions from private schools, from public schools, and consistently year on year coming home with the top prizes. We see children in their formative years inventing from locally produced material things that are solving our renewable energy problems, agricultural problems, health challenges, and everyday problems that face us in society. That is the true essence of education. And that is what we want to see when we set out to transform or reform our curriculum from the objective-based to standard-based, right from kindergarten. We've introduced play-based pedagogies, and then to primary JHS, we now are on secondary education curriculum. In all of these, we want to move away from the teacher-centered approach to learning to learner-centered curriculum, learner-centered pedagogy, and pedagogy that will leapfrog from the rote memorization and chew and pour to critical thinking, communication, creativity, and collaboration. These are the tenets we want to pass on to this generation to prepare them adequately for opportunities today and opportunities tomorrow. Education Commission, in their report in the year 2022, posited that if nothing changes in our education system globally by the year 2030, nearly 825 million young people may reach adulthood without the opportunity, without the skills needed to thrive in today's world. Today's world is fast driven by technology. Today's world is fast driven by innovation. And as a matter of fact, this platform has demonstrated just what we need to prepare our children with the kind of innovation that they need to be fit not only in Ghana, not only in Africa, but to become some of the best the world is yet to see. One of the challenges that the past 7 years has seen, one of the problems that we have seen and trying to address is the question of access and a matter of equity. Ensuring that the child of the rich and the child of the poor both have the opportunity to realize their dreams to the highest point possible. When I was in school, I never thought that I would have the opportunity to be able to continue my learning after JHS, because from where I schooled, and my good friend, Mr. Frank Segbawu, visited my village, and it was like an excursion for him. Even today, when he visits my village, it's like one of the best parts in Africa, one of the best parts in Ghana. I'll leave the rest of the description to him. But even some 30, 40 years ago, where in the midst of all the depravity and challenges, we didn't have such a hope that we will be able to further education after JHS or after the elementary. I wasn't the only person who was brilliant in my village. I had cousins and friends who were equally brilliant, but I was the only person that year to be able to continue to second cycle institution. And it was only the grace of God that I was able to sail through. There were many others who came from similar backgrounds who dropped out along the line because they couldn't have the wherewithal to support their learning. Now today, I remember on our farms, we would discuss among ourselves after we had done halfway through the farming, the kind of jobs we wanted to do. Some wanted to go to space, some wanted to do agric engineering, some wanted to be agric economists, some wanted to be teachers, some wanted to be researchers, professors. But all these dreams are shattered, and only a few would have that opportunity. One of the exciting highlights of this conference is that it produces or projects data-driven decisions and innovations. So we set out to gather data, and we realized that before the introduction of free SHS, before 2016 or before 2017, every year, nearly 120,000 students missed out the opportunity to further their education, not because they didn't have the right passes or quality passes. They did, but there was no support to continue. About 6 years on, the introduction of free SHS, we have doubled access. We have doubled enrollment from the average enrollment of 830,000 in 2016 to some 1.45 million as we speak. And we hope to even do more with the release of the current BC results and preparation for the next enrollment. But in all of this, we have also, together with stakeholders, done it so well to ensure that quality is not compromised, and to ensure that through the challenges, we are able to drive quality outcomes. Ghana together, the private sector, the public sector, and all stakeholders together have made some strides. Nonetheless, we still have some room for improvement. From 2% of pupils at P2 who were reading, as per the outcome of ACCRA and EGMA that was conducted in 2015, now we can boast of some 38% of P2 learners who are able to read at grade level. That is not something we should be so proud about, but at least there's some jump from only 2% of pupils reading to 38% reading. And we are sustaining whatever best practices that brought us this far, so we don't get back to 2% of learners reading at P2. When World Bank projected that in sub-Saharan Africa, pre-COVID, 87% learning poverty is prevalent in sub-Saharan Africa. Recently, they released another report indicating that when you take 10 students who are the age of 10 in sub-Saharan Africa, only one of them will be able to read simple text for understanding. And so they are projecting about 90% learning poverty for sub-Saharan Africa. We took upon ourselves in Ghana to measure what the situation is. A national standardized test was introduced in 2021. We went on to add as many private schools as possible who were willing to share their data to join in the 2022 edition. And we can boldly say that by data available, 54% of our learners at the age of 10 are reading in this country, contrary to what World Bank may project for the whole of the sub-Saharan Africa. So we have around about 40, a little over 40% learning poverty prevalent. And the intent and our poise is that together we must try. So in the next 10 years, we must achieve a minimum 90% of our learners at the age of 10 able to read and proficient also in numeracy. We can only do this together if we don't leave the private sector out, or if we don't only focus on one sector. And that is why this platform brings together teachers, education leaders, school leaders, and experts from across the sectors so we can share ideas. I congratulate the organizers, I congratulate Pastor Grant and the team and all the supporters, Pearson Africa Education Gateway, and all the participants in this conference for making this a reality. 10 years on, still in your formative years, but your contribution to education is enormous, and we can only wish you well and look forward to the next 10 years, making you one of the most impactful organizations driving outcomes not only in Ghana and Africa and projecting strongly in the world stage. But I would not end my speech without also mentioning the focus on inclusive education. We have introduced inclusive education policy. We have some schools, over 56 schools that are truly inclusive, but we have several thousands of schools, of course. And the intent is to drive and ensure the support of UNICEF and other partners to ensure that every school near your home becomes inclusive, so that no child who is specially abled or differently abled may be left out of the opportunity to have mainstream education. On this note, I would want to urge you all to join us on this journey of transformation and to prepare this generation, the next generation of Ghanaians, to be highly skilled and productive to make us proud. I thank you and I congratulate you. God bless you.
For more information, just call 026-271-4106. The Global Super Teachers Conference. Get informed, go perform.
This conference is brought to you by Africa Education Gateway, Pearson Edexcel, Glossnet, School World Events, NAPS, Access Bank Ghana, and Ghana Olympiad Academy.
It's the Global Super Teachers Conference. Get informed, go perform.